This morning, I want to start by appreciating my fathers and mothers in the house. I'm so glad to be here and to also speak on something that is very close to my heart. It's a very, very big privilege. I'm also happy because I'm able to witness another convocation, and the director telling the convocants that this set is unique. I believe that next set also will be unique in another way. Since I've been attending, we've always been having the sets being unique in different ways, and it's not surprising. I thank God for the work that is going on here. It's really, really big, and evidently is going somewhere. I'm praying that we'll be able to stay focused and keep up the work. My job is laid before me, and I have a lot to do. So it might look like maybe racing. I'm just trying to keep within the time because there's quite a lot to say. So much challenges that we have to clear. But before going on, speaking as a man, if I was asked, I will have no problem saying that God is partial. It's my own view. It's not scriptural. And when I say God is partial, it has to do with our country, with the endowments, the kind of endowments. And when we look at it, we see that I don't know if there's any place in this world that is so endowed. So much so that somebody said that it's possible that when God told the Israelites that he's taking them to a land flowing with milk and honey, maybe he was bringing them here. We don't know. But we have so much endowment. Today, petroleum has robbed us of all the benefits we ought to have made from agriculture. And it's a pity. Next slide, please. I hope that I'll be able to achieve these goals. I hope that we shall be able to appreciate the present state of the country, the potential. We can't really go through all that, and the prospects. Then I hope to introduce also Agritronics, technology-driven agriculture, which is the modern day thing. I hope to also bring to us several other modern technologies and to help us to see how these things are driving profits. So we should stop practicing agriculture just for subsistence. We should be really looking at making profits. And when our daddy was talking about expansion, I think he was talking about that. Then lastly, I want to also help us to see my own constituency, mechatronics, and help us to see what it really entails. I believe, next slide. I believe that God's mandate for mankind comes from his very first instruction in Genesis chapter 1, as is there. Verse 28 of Genesis chapter 1 says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that move upon the earth. So every living thing, systems, education system, political system, economic systems, agricultural systems, everything comes under this. And I see a divine mandate given there. In fact, for me, is the very first instruction, possibly the first commandment, because it was direct. Chapter 2:15 says, and the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress and to keep it. Perhaps the first assignment also. So essentially it looks like agriculture, we may look down, but it is the very, very key thing. Where are we now? All right. So let's go to the next slide. And very, very quickly, we're saying that the population of Nigeria presently should be around 220, 225 million people. That means that if we gather the entire Africa inside this room, and you close your eyes and pick 4, one of them is a Nigerian. That is the situation right now. But that population is not stopping. We are very, very productive. So our population is growing. So much so that it's painting a picture that by 2025, we might have a situation in which half of the population of Africa will be Nigeria. And that's a serious issue because we have to feed half the population of Africa. So it's a serious matter that is on our hand. We have well over 82 million hectares of arable land, out of which less than half is cultivated at the moment. In fact, it has been said that there is nowhere in this country that you put a seed of corn and you do the right thing. Maybe put water at the right time, put manure, and it will not germinate. Whether the land had been degraded by petroleum exploration or desert in the north, if you put a seed of ground and a seed of corn, and you put water at the right time and whatever, it will grow. Nigeria has been ranked 115 in 2025, not 1950. 115 on the World Global Hunger Index. So in the middle of all this, Nigeria has a place among the ranking of nations on global hunger index, and several other issues. Next slide. Aha. When you look at that next slide, you see the graph is coming from long before, and you see the arrow, the projection was just going up. We call that exponential growth. So that graph was talking about food inflation, inflation rates between 2023 and 2024. Well, we are told that that rate had reached a level. We don't know whether it has come down. I don't know whether it has reached a plateau, but we are told that climbing up has stopped. But that analysis stopped at 2024. Thank God for taking us through. But in the middle of this, we have a paradox. Because for years now, Nigeria has been the largest producer of cassava in the whole world. And the interesting thing is that we have not even been able to utilize fully all the benefits of cassava. In fact, all the benefits of just starch from cassava, we have just been able to use to make use of like 20% only. 20%. And it's a serious waste and serious issue. We're not talking about yam yet. That's just cassava. Most of the tablets will have starch. And clothes. Making clothes, they will use starch. Even after making it, when you wash, we have to put starch. Starch is so, apart from the one we are eating. So, and that is just cassava. That's just cassava. In Yoruba land, it is said that the palm tree has nothing that is not useful. And I don't know how much we have been able to do with palm tree. In fact, Malaysia took palm fruit from us, and we are importing palm oil from Malaysia today. Part of the challenge, I was discussing with an elder in an elderly professor of agricultural economics in Futa some time ago, and he told me, said, the biggest problem we have that is making us unable to export palm oil is just one machine, boiler. When we harvest palm fruit, we put them aside for 1 or 2 days. We want them to ferment. In the course of fermenting, it develops, is it saturated or unsaturated? Acid starts forming. Then outsiders don't want it. So we end up consuming our own palm oil ourselves. But with boilers installed, you are harvesting, you are producing palm oil immediately. And it is going, and that palm oil goes into soap and so many things. In fact, Malaysia bleach palm oil and they sell it to us as groundnut oil. Next slide. So the next slide shows the GDP of Nigeria for the year 2023, and that blue portion at the bottom is what agriculture has been contributing, and is say about 20%, and it has almost been consistent until the issue of insecurity, of course, started disturbing. But the interesting thing is this: the last government before this one realized that if the problem of unemployment in the land was going to be solved, the sector of agriculture could provide 70% of job opportunities that the country needs. So focusing on agriculture can really take away the problem of unemployment. And then we have the yam production. As at, I think that is for year 2022. Year 2022, yam alone was able to generate for us $25 billion. $25 billion. That's from yam. You have other crops following it. Cassava, $8.8 billion. Maize, $4.5 billion. Rice, $3.5 billion. Tomatoes, 3.0. Sorghum, okra, taro, pineapples, and all that. One main problem why yam are not being exported from Nigeria seriously is the issue of injury. So when we harvest the yam and the cutlass cut it somewhere, as soon as that happens, it becomes disqualified. So process of harvesting becomes an issue. Of course, we know that was also the problem with cocoa, but that has also been improved a lot. Next slide. We have quite a number of economic and agricultural challenges facing us today. Of course, number one is insecurity. People can't go to farm again. Infrastructural gaps, finance and inputs, climate change, very, very serious challenge, low technology and mechanization, poor extension services, post-harvest losses. You'll be surprised how much we lose after working so hard and producing so much. You'll be surprised how much that gets wasted after all the labor. Policy and implementation. So now I really want to talk about the issue of agricultural change. For most people, when we talk about farmer, we talk about the person that carry hoes and till the land and all that one, cultivates and harvests corn and yam. But one of the big challenges that we have had over the years is that the farming has not really been that rewarding for most farmers the way it's supposed to be. The amount of work done is not really commensurate to some years, maybe was it last year, 2 years ago, cocoa farmers were smiling. People are beginning to talk about this year, maybe it is somehow, but really, if a child is thinking of applying for a course in the university, how much will it be easy to convince a child to study agriculture when there is petroleum chemistry, petroleum engineering, and things like that there? One of the challenge has also been that we have not been taking advantage of the entire agriculture value chain. There's an entire value chain. So you produce and you just sell your products and close your eyes and go away. For example, the farmer that cultivates yam, sells the yam, closes his eyes and goes away. Then somebody buys the yam and tries to spread it. And after spreading it, he sells it as elubo and possibly makes more money than the farmer that cultivated. Another person buys the egbodo and grind it into powder and then sells it in small noodles. So these are value chains, and you realize it's the same thing with cocoa. So we sell cocoa seed to the whites, and they bring one vita to us, and eventually you realize that probably you sell cocoa seed just for some few cents, and you are buying the cocoa powder from them in dollars. They have taken advantage of the other value chain and making more profits. And this is one area that farmers need to really look at. So profit. So profiting from the entire value chain is one major problem that is not making farmers to really make profit. The other thing that is not enabling farmers to make profit is the fact that the scope of farming has got to increase. Farmers must get to the point where we're not just walking like elephants and eating like Eliri, the small rats. We work so hard and the profit is, and one of the reasons for that is we need to also bring in things that will help add more values to the labor of the farmer so that he will be able to get more yield. Next slide. So in this slide, no, the next one. In this slide, on that side, we have some of the challenges that have been listed: poor outputs, post-harvest losses, climate change, infrastructure insecurity, and I've also highlighted some of the ways and tools that modern technology has brought in that we can explore to be able to help us to face these challenges. For example, if we look at the issue of the poor output, we have what we call precision agriculture. In Yoruba language, when you are irrigating, I think they say "ambomirin abi." Modern technology doesn't bomirin anymore. So irrigation is not you pouring water. I have discovered that you need to find some plants need just some few droplets dropped just at the right place at the root. So you're supplying just the amount of water needed for the plant. Otherwise, flooding the plant with water also destroys the plant. So we talk about precision agriculture, the soil itself. We want to cultivate yam. So what type of fertility should the yam, what type of soil, what type of fertility does it need? So a lot of soil tests has to be done so that we can get the exact soil that is going to give us the yield. These things are done with precision. Some call it smart agriculture, and then a lot of other things are coming like automation and robotics. For example, the world has moved beyond. I was discussing with some women in a bullet, and I said, "Can you bring some oranges I want to buy?" She said, "I don't have anybody to harvest oranges for me." So the orange is there, but there's nobody to harvest. When the world has gone beyond people carrying or stealing mango and trees, robots goes in and pick the orange. In fact, to the extent of being able to know which one is ripe, which one is not ripe. And of course, planting pepper in controlled environment, greenhouses and things like that, hydroponics and other things. Then we have the issue of drones. Benedict, can you bring that drone here? I want to show us. Bring that big one, yes. So this is a quadcopter. It's a product of a student project. When you look at it closely, then you'll be able to see that it is actually made of wood. That's how you will know that it is locally made. Otherwise, it will have been made out of plastics, maybe by injector molding. But this is the container. I can take 1 liter, and we use this to apply herbicide, fertilizer, and all that. Unfortunately, the power pack is bad. So this is part of the things being used today. So the days that you are carrying knapsack and fleeting all over the place, is just stay in one place, and with a radio, you can send this to fleets all over the place and get your job done. Thank you. Let's look at some examples of success stories. And this is deliberate, because if we don't look at some of these things, it might look like, oh, they are just talking about some things. The first example we want to look at is the land Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands. Okay, yes, there. Netherlands is in Europe. And taking the year 2017, and of course, this didn't just happen in the year 2017. It has been a pattern. In the year 2017, you see the cup there. Netherlands was the largest agri-food exporter in Europe, and the second largest in the entire world. Netherlands. And Netherlands produce a lot of dairy products, milk, and they have developed a lot of greenhouse agriculture. They have gone very, very far. The interesting thing is this: I do not think that Netherlands is as big as the Southwest, but it's now the second largest agri-food exporter in the whole world, and the first in Europe. So you can imagine all the nations where Netherlands is exporting food, including Nigeria, because a lot of our dairy milk, this powder milk, it comes from Netherlands. It's also called Holland. In fact, there's a brand of milk called Hollandia. So that is Netherlands. The next one is the land of Israel. And I have 3 pictures there. The last one is about hydroponics, where you are not really using soil to grow plants. You're using water, just water that is having the essential nutrients. So a lot of developments have been done so that you can plant vertically. So places countries where you say, okay, we don't have land, is no longer an excuse. And they have been able to develop this so much. Then Israel, as we know, is in the Middle East. Water is an issue. So they have been able to develop technology to extract water from air. So pass air through machine and extract water. Of course, that means that when we are talking about things like precision agriculture, these are the people that really, really know the value. Because when you are planting the crop, you are supplying, you don't even have enough water to waste. So you are giving just enough water. The interesting thing is this: Israel is probably the country producing the best fruits in the whole world. And so many other things. The last one, Saudi Arabia. That first picture is actually in the desert. And they have developed irrigation system. The irrigation system is radial. So it looks like you have circles that are just green like that in the midst of a brown desert. This is how the picture looks like when you see Saudi Arabia from space. You are able to see those green circles like that. And these are things that have been done with technology. Of course, the best date comes from Saudi Arabia. So, what is Agritronics? Yeah, next slide, please. So, Agritronics is a modern concept whereby agriculture is integrated with modern digital technologies like mechatronics, electronics, Internet of Things, and robotics. We have children studying all kinds of things. Thank God for the seminar yesterday. I believe a very good foundation has been laid. But all these things have their place right in agriculture. If only they are applied properly and appropriately also, then we should be able to have the dividends really coming forth. So Agritronics encompasses the design, the development, and use of sensor networks, automated control systems, monitoring devices to optimize farming operations such as planting, irrigation, and post-harvest handling. A couple of years ago, one of my students' work was to make use of sensors to develop a system where you don't need to be there for your land to be irrigated. So we had a sensor to sense the soil moisture, to sense the amount of nitrogen, the amount of phosphorus, the amount of potassium in the soil, and some other things. And the system is continuously monitoring the soil so that the data can be sent to me wherever I am. And the thinking is this: we have a situation where if you're practicing agriculture today and you are not thinking about conducting irrigation yourself, you're in trouble because of the challenge we have with the weather. Climate has been seriously affected by global warming and all that. So now it's not possible for us to say rain starts by March and ends by so. It's not really possible anymore. Rain starts when it starts, rain stops when it stops. When it stops, it stops. So if you are going to be serious, a serious farmer, you must be ready to create the climate you want yourself. So it's also the water that you'll be using to irrigating that you want to use to as a channel to fertilize the soil to the particular level you want. So we want to be able to measure and check to be able to know when it gets to that level. Next slide. Well, the last time I was talking about the use of robots. Robots when we talk about robots, it's not just talking about humanoids. Humanoids are the ones that takes the shape of human being. Maybe it has one head, two hands, or maybe it's just the hand. That is not the only robot. The drone is brought. If it is autonomous, then it is also a robot. Then vehicles can now be made to be autonomous. So we have situations where tractors we don't need to engage drivers. So you can have tractors that are autonomous. So you can control them remotely and they can carry out your work. Next slide. So you quickly see that the key aspects of application of agritronics will be found in issues of precision agriculture, automation and robotics, electronic control systems, data management, and Internet of Things. Now, next slide. Now, the challenge we have as of today is that over 70% of agriculture in Nigeria is done in the rural places by subsistence farmers. Not as if I'm saying that agriculture has to be done in the city, but it talks about the type of these people that are engaged in agriculture. So we are in an age where agriculture has gone beyond hoes and cutlasses. And if we're going to be feeding 225 million people, it's not cutlass and hoe matter anymore. The world has since moved on, and we have some examples of that shown there, stage by stage. In fact, there is like a name given to it, Agriculture 1 for like 10,000 BC. By 19th century, we enter the era of Agriculture 2, Agriculture 3, 20th, 21st century, and today we are in Agriculture 4. Of course, we are not talking about Nigeria. I don't know. Maybe if we are talking about Nigeria, we are still in Agriculture 2, practically. So, the next slide. The next slide is also to show us some examples of some of these things. It's no longer fallacy. So you have cases, the people into dairy farming, they have trained the cattle. So the cattle is not expecting somebody to come and start milking them. They know they will just, when the cattle is ready for milking, he walks up to the machine and the machine starts milking the cow. And so it saves a lot of things. And the real cycle of how modern day technology driven agriculture is shown in the next slide. So a lot of the use of the outer space also comes into agriculture. I used to say this. People say, what's the use of doing research about space? The fact of the matter is this. If there's a problem here, sometimes to be able to solve the problem effectively, it's good that you take a step back so that you'll be able to have a very big or global picture of the challenge. You'll be able to see it. And that is what the space creates for us. So you get different perspective when you are looking at Earth from the outer space. Like I talked about the Saudi Arabia. When you look at the pictures of the Earth, I mean, like Nigeria, when you look at the pictures of Nigeria 50, 60 years ago from the space, it was much more greener than now. Now, when you are looking at Nigeria from space, it's largely brown because we have cut down so many trees, and it appears that the trees are replaced by rusting roofs and all that one. So it's affecting our perspective. But for agriculture, it's possible for you to even be able to diagnose if the plant is sick, you have an entire plantation, and just a portion of the plantation is lacking, let's say, nitrogen or phosphorus. The leaf will tell you, because the color of the leaf will change. But you may not be able to travel the entire length of the plantation. But if you're able to have aerial photograph or drones, you are able to see. And then technology has made it in such a way that we are able to match some of this color to specific problems of the plant. Now, having talked about this, I want to quickly talk about mechatronics. As of today, mechatronics in Nigeria is one of the most sought courses. In FUTA, the last admission was the most sought course. And yet, one of the youngest in FUTA. Surprisingly, candidates that scored 315 couldn't even enter. And part of the reasons, it has to do with the perspective and what people have seen. It's interdisciplinary. The world has gone beyond the way we locally look at issues. No problem comes with a name, biological problem, chemistry problem anymore. A problem is a problem. And when there's a problem, the issue is, who do we call to solve the problem? So it's calling for people with multidisciplinary approach to look at this thing. So the way that we train, the philosophy of the training is changing. And it's interesting to find that one of the fields where mechatronics has found home is agriculture. And that's why we have what you call agritronics. Automobile has also embraced. And for automobile, we have what you call autotronics. But the real thing is the need of the society keeps making it to evolve. I have very little time left, and I must rush through the remaining I have. But the most popular view is that mechatronics synergistically integrates aspects of mechanical, electrical, some computing, and some other things. Some people abuse that, thinking, oh, mechatronics means that take some 2 courses here, take some 2 courses there, take some, put them together as if you are making a pot of soup, and put it on fire. You have produced a mechatronics engineer. That is not true. A mechatronics engineer is either rendering service or he is producing a product. The need for the product determines the need for the mechatronics engineer. So the philosophy behind the program itself is the very, very key thing. Can you please go on to the next slide? I can't take the other ones. The next one. Yes, stop there. As of today, it's clear that practicing mechatronics itself brings in so many aspects of so many disciplines that we don't think of. For example, he brings in marketing. He brings in advertisements, aesthetics. All these things comes in. And of course, when you bring all those in to produce a particular product, then you can tell that product will be better than what has been before. Now, applying that to agriculture gives us what we call agritronics. What shall we do? So before I conclude, I quickly want to talk about the roles of three sets of people. One, the role of the government in the implementation of agritronics. It has to be government driving. There's the academia, there is the field, or what we call the town and the gown. The academia is the gown, the field is the town. To be able to get productivity, the town and the gown must meet. But most times, two people don't always just meet coincidentally. Usually, somebody has to midwife their coming together. And that is one role that the government has to play. Otherwise, it's not really possible. For example, talking about Nigeria, where most of our agriculture is done in the rural place, and you have researches and technologies being done in universities in the town, there must be a deliberate action to bring things together. There's also the issue of infrastructure. So the farmer must cultivate yam. Then he must also create the road to the market. It's asking too much. There has to be road to be able to take the produce to the market. It is said that one of the states in the southwest had some serious investment on road constructions, and they're already reaping the benefits because farmers are able to take their produce to the market. The role of the academia, the truth of the matter is this: so many things are happening in the academia, but the problem is most of them are ending up on the shelf. So we don't see relationship or correlation with real life. So we publish paper, so what? The fact of the matter is there has to be a proper synergy to be able to bring these things to work. There used to be farm demonstration farms and things like that, and I don't know how many of the institutions still invest so much in that. One of the benefits that could give is farmers could be able to see, like we're talking about agritronics. It is in the universities or research institutions that we should be able to see some of these things being done practically. Then we can take it back to the back home. Then we have the roles for the farmers, which are also, we have also talked about the issue that farmers need to step up, take advantage of the entire value chain. Farmers need to get educated and learn that times are changing and we need to change with times. The productivity potential of agriculture in Nigeria is boundless. It's boundless. You can almost not talk about where it ends. But the benefit can only be reaped when we have these four items looked at. One, massive introduction of mechanization and digital technology to our farming practices. Two, farmers must enlarge their scope to accommodate as much the value chain as possible for increased profitability. Three, investment in infrastructures is critical. Energy, road, these things are basic They just have to be there. If it's not there, there's very little we can do. Then education is important. And then training. Of course, I'm separating education from training deliberately. Somebody will say, I've been educated. Yes. Okay, if you have been educated, you need to be trained again. Then after train, you need to be retrained. Actually, training doesn't end. And research is very, very important also. But the only thing is that research has to be tied to agriculture. We have researchers doing their own thing, just doing their own thing, as if then we have farmers doing their own thing as if they are in different worlds. We can't get benefits. In fact, I want to see a time when probably the government will give a mandate and say, this year or for the next 5 years, we want to look at all researches should be focused on agriculture. You are researching on ICT, mechatronics, electronics, anything. They have their bearing, direct bearing in agriculture. Even if it is aeronautics engineering, you have seen aeronautics engineer will build drones. Everything has its bearing on agriculture. So there could be a focus. The next 5 years, everything must be towards agriculture. If we don't do that, we may be facing the dream of Pharaoh that time that Joseph had to tell him. And, fortunately, he had Joseph to tell him, do this, do this. I don't know if we have Joseph to tell us what we should do now. But if we have half the population of Africa to feed in 2025 and 2050, and 2050 is not far from now. We are 2026 right now. So it's 25 years from now. If we have to feed population half of Africa, what shall we do? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Downsey, for the very deep and insightful lecture. There will be responses and reactions. Want to find out, are there responses, reactions, questions? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So can you come up, sir? That's Professor Bakari. Yes, you can come up. Okay. So that you ask your question and the answers.
Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful lecture. I want to ask, because I was just wondering on the issue of the town and the gown, that we need to wait for the government to bridge that gap. Now, I'm seeing that if we are going to consider that option alone, we may be standing on a dangerous ground, because a lot is already going on as far as the issue of the town and the gown is going. I mean, it is in the nation today. And then this will be a good platform for us to begin to think about what are other options. Now, if the government fails to come on time, what should be done going forward? Now, we are talking about SDG 2030. We are 4 years to what is going on, and then a lot has not been achieved. So what is the way forward, going by what you have said? Thank you very much.
My perspective about things is this. We've had societies where they said men have failed. So what they did was to say, okay, so the men have become irresponsible, so let us saddle the responsibility on women. Fine. The truth of the matter is, what has become of those societies today? If a man is not responsible, bring him, make him to sit down, make him to do his responsibility. That's what he's meant to do. If government is not doing its job, the only way out is to make government to do its job. Government has got to be accountable. Yes, we can ask some people to help, but none of those people will form policies. None of them have the control of agri ministries. None of them have any influence on the agricultural bank, how much loan, how much they should give, and things like that. We can't run away from it. If government does not become responsible, there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to make government responsible. The aspect of policies is very, very important. We're talking about technology. The challenge is these things are expensive. The one I brought here and showed you is in millions. It costs a lot. So how do I get farmers to start investing such amounts? So while I know that there are roles that NGOs can play, maybe even religious bodies can play, but that cannot replace the role of government. For example, can government take it upon itself and say, because of the challenge that is coming, we need to increase capacity? How do we increase capacity? We must invest on technology in agriculture. Some years ago, a minister brought the issue of handsets to farmers. I don't know if you remember. Then some of us were, why are you going to the farm, to the rural area, to give farmers phones? But now we are better informed. It's not about farmer calling his father or his mother or his children. But there are so many things you can do now. In fact, that you can even be able to reach them is something. But that one in itself was pursued by government. Now, you notice that what shall we do? The role of different people comes in. For example, FATI could have been a place where we teach just discipleship. Come and learn Bible. Come and learn how to live Bible. There's nothing wrong with that. But that does not produce a total man. That doesn't produce a total man. After reading the Bible, the man must still feed his family. And a lot of the challenges that he will face as a Christian comes with food and money. Where does he make money? And things like that. And we have FATI filling that gap. Everybody has different roles to play. And sincerely, the role that the government has to play is just there. Farmers cannot do it for them. People in the academia cannot do it for them. Policy, proper policy that will channel a focus for the next 20 years, 30 years has to be done. Not the type of vision 2030, vision 2070, the ones we have been doing before, and eventually we still rule them over. So I believe if we are going somewhere, all the other countries that has moved, there were serious rules. Government won't go to the farm to farm, but government will come and say, This is where Nigeria is going in the next 20 years. And for us to get there, farmer, this is what you should do. Researcher, this is what you should do. And they will make sure that enabling environment is made for the two of them to be able to function. But all hands must be on the deck. Even the people that cannot farm an entire plantation, it's high time you start thinking about having a tree in your house. In December, in Akure, we have so much heat. We say, where's the Harmattan? Where's the Harmattan? And some people are already saying, if Harmattan comes late, maybe rain will. And some of these things are happening because many of us are building houses and we are not planting trees. These trees are one of the reasons why we have so much dust all around. Every hand must be on deck. It's not far from here. 2050. It's not far from here. Thank you.
I think I want to agree with our lecturer that policymakers, policy making is a crucial matter. Many years ago, Malaysia, the Prime Minister of Malaysia came to Nigeria around 1960, and he saw palm oil production in Nigeria. He took the seeds. He went to establish in his country. The first thing he did was to establish Palm Oil Research Institute. And then Malaysia began to produce palm oil. They planted oil palm right from the airport. Now today, Malaysia is the highest producer of palm oil all over the world. And they have maintained that over the years. Now, so policy making by government. So that means that all of us who are involved in government should be rights representatives there. And then we should not run away from politics. Because running away from politics is also to run away from good governance. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Number 2.
Thank you, Prof. I think I would like to disagree with Prof's stand on this matter. Even the stand of my host also, I would like to disagree. If we continue to think this way, we won't move forward. I was part of making policy in agriculture until I retired some 10 years ago. I know the university has sufficient autonomy to pursue something like this. In the mid-70s, when we were in the university, I remember Ife has what they call Isoya project. And that project, what they did then was to carve out a large area, which they call something like their own area of influence. That's where they collect their data. That's where they send their students to go and do experiments. If your student is able to develop a drone, might be able to carry 1 liter now, and you can develop to carry 20 liters to spray probably half an hectare of land, might be in 10 minutes. And you continue to wait for government when virtually I believe that everything you needed to connect with the gown and the what? Town. And the town. Everything you needed to connect with the town is honestly available. I don't know what has become of the extension unit of the university. So if you don't develop it and you are waiting for Ministry of Agri, either at the state level or federal level, this drone will remain on the shelf like other things. So, and I don't know what agreement Fatih has with FUTA, what MOU you have signed, or with FOIE. Things you are much connected. Why don't we start from somewhere? Why don't you find a way out if government is not answering you through an organization like this? And they will be ready to do it for you. So please, we want to know what actually the extension unit of the Faculty of Agriculture is doing. Because I knew what they were doing when I was in the university. Thank you.
Thank you, Daddy. Sir, the truth be told, we are not in the 70s. We are not in the 60s. Universities that time is completely different from now. How we perceive universities that time and now, they are completely different things. And when I say how we perceive universities, I'm talking about parents, governments. They are completely different. In those days, ABU had agricultural land all the way from Kaduna State. I'm talking about the time when Kaduna included Kaduna and Katsina State. Their land got up to Kaba and Kwara State. And I still believe that they still have those lands. OAU has so much land. In fact, from what we heard, the plan was that Obafemi Awolowo University should concentrate on agriculture. We're talking about problems with Fulani herders and all that. We, our generation, heard stories of what we call where they keep cattle. Ranches that old Western region had. But they are all gone. They are all gone. I don't want to talk about what took them away. But what took them away is still with us. It's still with us. Part of it is not just corruption of embezzlement. Part of it has to do with lack of focus. Inability to see into the future. A lot of right now, you're going to roof is becoming a challenge getting quality timber. And we are turning to Masonia. No, not Masonia, Melania. Now, because all the proper Ogbeche, they have just been cut off. These are trees that some people deliberately planted some years ago. And somehow, a generation didn't just allow them to go waste. That generation plundered it. As of the last time I checked, Nigeria had the largest form of deforestation in the whole world. We're just cutting down trees. All these have to do with focus. If I'm a child in a home where my father gathers everybody and say, let us pray. It is a different thing with if I got born again outside. Then I come inside the house and I'm the only one. And I pray at my own time. They are two different things. With me having a father to say the policy of this home is righteousness. If we don't have a father to put that policy down, it's missing. Yes, mothers can do it, but fathers have to be the one to put policy down. Government will not be the one to go from place to place. In those days, there were wole. We still have people employed for that job, but nobody goes from house to house to check your latrine. And we still have environmental issues all around us. The same way we have extension workers right now. But I don't know if they visit farms. We have forests. The Fulanis understand the forest more than our forest rangers. They know the forest more than our forest rangers. They are the ones that know the boundary. That's why we had that insecurity issue. That's why, that's how. So we are in a terrible mess. If we are going to get out of it, extension workers must be brought back. Because farmers must be trained and retrained and retrained. And it's extension workers that has to be used. Extension workers himself has to be trained and trained and trained in modern day agriculture so that he'll be able to pass it across. And there's so much to be done. Where to start is even the issue. But the biggest challenge we have is this. Please, sir, you need to imagine the size of Holland, Netherlands, and compare it with Southwest. Imagine. So, all of a sudden, tomato is not coming from the north. What happens to us in Southwest? Imagine, yam is not coming from Benue. What happens to us in Southwest? In 2019, the government closed border. Trucks bringing tomato from Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, they lined up at Nigerian border because West Africa is feeding Nigeria right now. Tomatoes are coming from other West African states to feed Lagos. And we are just eating. We think we are okay. There's problem. There was school in Benin Republic, and the government had to rush there. And there was debate. Why don't you look at Nigeria's problem? The issue is this. If there's a problem in Nigeria, where will we run to? Which country will take care of us? If we send the population in Lagos alone to one of our West African states, they are in trouble. Their economy will crash. So, sir, the challenge we are talking about right now is not some few tons of yam, some few. Yes, we are doing something. But what I'm saying is this. We need to be thinking of a very, very big magnitude. Very, very big magnitude. We're able to produce something right now. But, sir, it is far from what we need. This country has the capacity of producing its own wheat. Its own wheat. We don't have to import. We should be exporting. And if we don't wake up to do that, we are going to face a crisis. We are going to face a crisis. If we don't want that crisis to come, we need to start preparing like Joseph taught them in Egypt to do. In Egypt, Joseph had the advantage of government with policy. This is what we are going to do. If he didn't have that advantage, nobody will do anything. Everybody will eat what is on ground and then let us face hunger tomorrow. But somebody had to say, this is where Egypt was going, and it saved the entire world. Sir, I'm not saying that government must come and farm. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is government must play its role. What is that role? The road that we bring farm produce from this place to that place, help us to do it. Give us small electricity. Then let us also do what we can. The drone, largely, it's students' projects. Many of these researches that we do, they are not all funded by government. So many of the things we get done, they are by students doing final year project and all that. But what we are saying is we should also get to a place where we'll be able to put serious policies on ground. The generation that had that focus, I don't know how to put it, but I think we need to go back and visit what were they thinking that time, because it appears we are thinking differently now. Focus is a bit different, and demands are also increasing. The budget for agriculture for last year was double that of 2024, and we are clapping for the government. But the truth of the matter is very, very small still. Yes, they've done something, but what we really need is far. The challenge we have on ground, sir, the challenge we have on ground is really, really big.
Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome the Asharo of Isharo. Afeki Baba Kabo. Kábíyèsí Asharo ti ìlú Isharo. Wọ́n wà láàrin wa. Ẹ káàbọ̀. Kádé ọpẹ́ lórí o. Kábíyèsí o. Ẹ ṣé. I'd like to invite the chairman of the Governing Council to make input on that. You're welcome, sir.
I just want to thank Professor Downsy for what he has done. And what Baba Buhari had said, very, very apt. But I want to add two perspectives. Some years ago, the Lord spoke to us. He said, stop mourning for Saul. Go and anoint a young David, because I found a king there. It is that instruction that we are responding to. That's why you are here speaking to us like this. Because we know America cannot build Nigeria for us. We know when we talk of Malaysia, there are great examples, but they can't come here to change our situation. In the 70s that Buhari was talking about, I don't know which school you were at that time. So, but today you are a professor. And you're a professor of mechatronics in a university. So you have a voice. You are now a member of Senate that can think pragmatically and begin to redirect the space in which you occupy, even if it is restructuring of courses. Like you have said now, in time past, engineering students had never thought there's a connectivity between engineering and agriculture. Agriculture is a faculty that is running on its own, and we have no idea. So even when you want to do mechanized or agric mechanization or something, instead of collaborating with the faculty, they want to start their own mechanization department, for which they have no equipment, no training, because We have not understood multidisciplinary approach, both to research and to training. Now, we have responded to this, even though it looked little, because we know if we don't rise up to provide an alternative for people to think, because we are talking of government. Who are the government? There are some of the students that you trained that are going to become House of Rep, House of Senate members, who are going with a very, very faulty perspective of what to do. So if we don't start somewhere, we're not going far. So while I want to agree with you that we cannot do away with government in terms of policy making and all of that, but we want to go beyond that. We want to begin to think ahead. Let's imagine that in the next 30 years, can we walk to a point that by the time you are looking for governors, you are looking for ministers of education and all of that, you will find some of us who have been prepared to go and take over. If we don't do that, we will die mourning. We will grow gray and we will die mourning because we are doing nothing about it. I appreciate what you are saying, but I don't know the government you are talking about now. I cannot see them. I can see government that the day you appoint them, they throw a party. They have done nothing, but they are already celebrating. Where did they get the money? Which means they have already embezzled what they will have used to help us and give us direction. So the question that is making us to sit down here, and I really appreciate this lecture because I felt that we are going somewhere. And I feel that people like you, people like Buhari, people like Musbao, all those people that are coming with a challenge should keep coming. And let's begin to think and walk. Should God lay this body on your heart, say, can we send you to go into government? And we'll give you what is the agenda to go and pursue when you get there. And you are there. And you told Mr. President, I'm here, professor of this. I joined your government because this is what I intend to do. And if you have no space for such, count me out. Do you know that we'll begin to have very serious people thinking for government? But as it is now, majority of the people that are there, that we are waiting on to act for us, I see them go abroad. They have gone to all these countries you are talking about. They have eyes that don't see. They are not concerned. They can't see. They don't know our plight anymore. They are making empty speeches that has no empirical data behind it. So that's why we're saying, what do we do? So I feel that there's an hybrid of position that we must all take care. First, we cannot rule out policymakers. We can't. And we should not. But we should do something else. We should begin to take position among the policymakers. Are you understanding? We should begin to insist. Like yesterday if you were here, we were talking about pragmatic way of using ICT to win election. And we're working on that. And when we have achieved what we want to, it's deployed. But we're not going to throw it into the hand of anybody at all. We will begin to determine who should win the next election from the point of righteousness. who should become the governor of Ondo State from the point of empirical analysis. And we can empower him to go and get it done. Then when he comes back, we say, now this is why we sent you there. These are the issues you must achieve in the next 8 years if you are there. Are we going to move forward with that? That's where we need to go. We cannot mourn continuously about government that we don't even know how we are influencing them. 2027 is here now. What are we doing to change it? Nothing. We're just crying. So we will stop mourning. We will start acting. That's one side of it. But the second side, which I think Buhari said, is that why we look onto government to do something, we need to begin to generate initiatives that could become a wake-up call for government. There are things that we are beginning to do. For example, in Benue State, when we decided that we're going to start a school, and I told them, we don't need your support, we don't need this. Government said, do you want go? I said, we don't. We want to do something that will give us an alternative template. So when they saw that my children from those schools are the ones representing Benue State all over Nigeria, they're the ones carrying Nigeria to South Africa, they are carrying Nigeria now to US, they went and represented us in Egypt the other time. They were now asking, what are you doing to produce this kind? That's a challenge. I feel that if some of us don't help, government have no idea of what we're looking for. So if we begin to do what we're talking about, the kind of paper you present now, we're going to pick it up and study it again. And look at, okay, at what point? Because what you have said, if it ends here, it ends. Brilliant ideas is locked up in the ivory tower of the university. Good research, no application. So if God helps us, now you have talked about drone now. I was going to engage you later on. Can we do further research on such a drone to the point that we can reduce foreign component of it and bring it to what we can produce locally that is affordable? That is what our second school is doing. We call it PRICE, Peace House Research Innovation Center of Excellence. We're taking graduates, some are masters, they are coming to sit down. When you talk of training, we're talking about training in bringing research that solves problems, in bringing innovation that, and then we are making progress. NOTAP has granted some of our work. They have given them, what do you call it now? Yes, they have given them patents. Which means if we continue like this, we engage kingdom-minded businessmen to say we want to bring solution to agric. We can't wait for government to give us whatever they are thinking. But if we start doing that, and we're able to liaise with professors like yourself in mechatronics, multidisciplinary research that we're engaging. Our engagement is multidisciplinary now. We're bringing engineers, we're bringing biosciences, we're bringing all of them, they are thinking together. If we're going to produce something, how does it impact the medical world? How do we, my small children now, they have produced something that deals with neonatal in the hospital. And we are doing it from a local production. It doesn't cost millions that the government will mention to us. We are testing it. We are testing it in different situations and we are getting results. When our data is complete and we are now ready to go to production, we may not go to government because other nations that have developed, I have found that yes, government may give an enabling environment which we are praying we will get, but majority of their development does not. It is these private people that have seen something. So if we can produce drone and we certify that it works and it's affordable and it did not end as student project and we take it up until it becomes something useful. And then we got some persons to help us produce, even if they just produce 50 for now. And we went to farms and farmers are beginning to use it and it's working. Do you know that one time government will come round and say, we learned that you people are doing something like this. How can we upscale it? Then we start talking. So I think we should not more. We should work. But the second part of it is that we should get into policymakers ourselves. We should begin to raise people that will go in there, but with a focus. So that may look a long period, but we're getting at it gradually, and we'll get there by God's grace. So I just wish that we combine this paper with the paper you gave us last year, when you said, let's do backyard farming, let's do community thing, let's feed the place, all that you said, which was good, something to begin with. But then we need to think ahead. Let's begin to pray and say, Lord, give us men also that will go and sit in the house of rep. And we're saying, you are not going there for money. We give you an agenda. If you are going to be interested in agric, go and raise a bill on our behalf. William Wilberforce fought on the slave trade, was overthrown. The government policy that time did not favor it because they are making money. And majority of them that are there, they were billionaires because of a slave trade. This young man came. His pastor, John Newton, who was guiding him and said, this is what I want you to go and do. I was a slave trader myself. I know how many souls I destroyed. If I'm going to pay my debt, please go help me, go to the house. And that's how they fought it. So Nigeria is bad, so to say, but it's not beyond repairs. Nigeria will change when people like me and you begin to think very, very, very deliberately on what to do. FATI, when I'll be explaining what's our vision, what's driving FATI, is because we are looking for solution to Nigeria. There's nothing else that will change. Look, you have many farms. The first biggest problem of the kind of farmers you are talking about are correct managers. You don't have them. You have a big poultry farm that could have been given a lot. You will get a manager that diverts all your eggs. Don't get anything. So this training was to answer that kind of problem. And if we do it well, we will have something to do tomorrow. Nigeria will change. I'm expecting a time, not too far from here, when 2, 3, 4, 5 governors will be disciples. I'm not talking of those who the day they want to go for politics, they now come to church and say, hey, man of God, pray for me. and then he gives you a big offering, and then he goes, and then he thinks he has got your congregation. We're not talking of such. We are talking of people that we can hold accountable. You said government must be made accountable. Who makes them accountable? That's where we are. So if we are getting to all this that we are doing, and it's very important, we are really, really doing well as far as I'm concerned with thinking. Provocative thinking will wake us up. And I want to charge you also. Now that you are beginning to see agritronics within the realm of mechatronics, and you are beginning to have idea of what are the things we can bring that will make farming and agriculture to move from where it used to be, even if within our own limited situation to start with. Please think about that. And let's partner. You know, I was just, as I was watching what you presented now, I was going to just talk to my prize students. Golagadi, I was going to tell him, did you see that kind of thing? Go and challenge yourself and do research and give me a drone. Engage ICT, engage electronics, engage all the disciplines that will make us to have, such, and you will reduce the size so that it's portable, it can fly freely and cover a particular farm. By the time we are checking all of that and it's working, we are living in an agricultural space. If we are able to do that, and I have 50 farmers who say, we learned you produce something in Peace House and it's working. Can we try it? Say, yeah, go and try it. Go and try it. If their farm turns, do you know then that demand for that drone will increase? And if demand increases, the gown and town process that you are talking about will have started. Imagine that we advertise what you are doing, your research, as providing solution, and we get businessmen to come and sponsor that research because they know it will break forth in their own area of business. Do you then know that as it has happened in other nations, one of my sons was a researcher, a biomedical engineer. And, as he was working, he was in UK, he's in UK, and they're doing well. Now, he told me, he said, most of their projects are sponsored by companies. But this kind of project, they will not allow you to publish it because they sponsor you to do it for them until they have made their own gain. You cannot make it to go and look for promotion in your university. Do you understand that now? And then you see your research already working. And they are already flying with it. And it is the reason why they are making money in their business. If we have such, will you have better researchers who are researching in order to solve a problem that somebody is waiting to collect and implement? That's the next thing. But because research in Nigeria had been made to be independent of the society, we don't know what our professors are doing. It's locked up where they are. It's not affecting us. We don't know that somebody like you have done what you have done and you could have brought it out. We don't know. I was happy with you because you brought that drone here. I said, aha, this brother is beginning to talk. Because when I see such thing that you have now done, you now bring it. We now take it back. And I say, how can we reduce the cost? How can we make it affordable? How can we make it transportable? How can we upscale it? Where do we find businesses that can help us do that? By the time we do that and it has worked, even your students that have done that kind of research, they are happy. Say, that's my work going on. You'll be encouraged to do something more. And before we know it, we will have filled the land. So I think our approach must be double-edged. We cannot ignore government. We don't want to. But because we are not going to ignore government, we are going to infiltrate them. We are going to send disciples into politics. As we are talking here, I don't want to be telling you, this is agric. Technology is going on. We are planning to have institute for politicians who will also come and sit down for 2 years. And we're training them. And we're saying, this is where you are going. There are biblical way of doing politics that nobody has trained us in. Most of the people that you are doing politics with, they are wicked. They are the one who sponsor you. You can't get into government through somebody else who sponsor and paid you or something. And you say, now I'm a Christian. I need a Christian brother to be commissioner. For where? They say, get out from that place. This is the man you must appoint. So you know there are governors now. They are not the one who appointed their commissioners. It was suggested to them, pick this man, this man. We want to pay him because he helped us. This is on time of settlement. So what can you do? That's why policy is not running. Let's trust God that we are going somewhere. I believe transformation is coming. The Nigeria of our dream will come to pass. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. We're going to take question 3 and 4 together, and then the response will be at once. Thank you, sir. The second mic has gone.
Thank you, Professor. My first challenge is to you, sir. Yeah. For this thing to run effectively, I don't know whether you have been thinking of forming your graduates and your alumni, the students that are passed out from here, into cooperative. Can they form a cooperative? When you get to Israel, the agriculture is running on what you call kibbutz and these powerful cooperatives. And I believe when we have this crop of new creation people forming a cooperative and going into agriculture, they will enlarge scale and make use of the economy of large scale. Because this technology you are saying cannot be practiced or deployed on a small area. By the time you come up, you are talking of having 50 hectares, 100 hectares, 200 hectares. The people running Israel, they are the cooperative-based people. And we saw what they are doing. We went there, we saw what they are doing in every area. And even they have extended to US, where they have the largest oil field. They told us the name of that cooperative. They have fish farm. They have 100 hectares, 1 hectare, and one fish farm pond, about 5 hectares. And how many people are working there? Only 6. 100 hectares of fish farm. What are they doing? They have employed this, what you call Agritronics. So let us start thinking of not just leaving them to be scattered. Let's bring them together to form which we can register. God will help us. Thank you very much.
So we'll take number 4, and then I will also respond. Number 4.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, as we are looking at feeding the nation, because of the challenge we have, I have to make mention about we cannot use cutlass and hoe. Now, I want to talk about the issue of the using of herbicides. It has health issue. So is there any research that can help? Because as we are trying to, to boost productivity, if we can go through that local means of, dealing with the grasses, it will not really go far. So is there any means? Because the food we are eating, there are a lot of chemical substances and is really, harming our health. So how can we deal with such? Then how can we now, the second question, how can we encourage young agriculture youths that are going into agri? How can we correct the mindset of making money? Because most, in quote, all they are after is money, not solving problems. Thank you, sir.
I think the first one, I won't be able to talk much about that. So you see, the issue you raised is a very serious one. It's a very, very, very serious one. The topic that I was given, I carefully looked at it. Said the first keyword there was obtainable. So I looked at it. Obtainable. Now we are talking about technology. The issue is it every technology? There's issue right now that people are debating about genetically modified, not just seed. You cut open bell pepper, there isn't one single seed inside, and the pepper is as big as this. So that's technology. Gradually, on the other side, some other people are saying, look, we are in for only organic. And that movement is also coming up. We have people that are saying, look, all this synthetic fertilizer, NPK, let us go for the urine of rabbits. And the urine of rabbit now per liter, the thing is getting very, 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 very expensive. People are traveling all the way from Kaduna to come and source for poultry drop-ins here in Ondo State. All the way from Kaduna, I've seen and interacted with some of them because they value organic to synthetic. So the issue you are raising is very, 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 very important. Over the years, we have carried out certain researches. Some of them, when you see the results, it is scary because they call this thing pure water. But when you go to the lab and check many of them, and you realize the quantity of heavy metals in them, you get afraid. To make matters worse, a professor of biology, botany per se, was giving a talk in Futa some years ago and was talking about some analysis that was done on Amaranthus F4. And you'll be surprised the level of heavy metals. When we talk about heavy metals, you're talking about mercury, cadmium, lithium, all this, lead in F4 that you bought from the market. That has nothing to do with fertilizer. The issue is this. We have energy challenge in Nigeria. The situation became chronic. So we had to rely so much on batteries, rechargeable lamp, rechargeable clipper, rechargeable laptop battery, phone battery, this one battery, all that battery. Now the question is, when your battery gets spoiled, what do you do to it? You just throw it away. Now, those batteries are made with heavy metals, lead, cadmium, mercury, and right now, lithium bromide. These are chemical substances that are carcinogenic. So we drop a battery here carelessly. Then rain falls, and gradually it takes time, but it disintegrates and it percolates. Then as it's percolating, the farmer comes and plants cowpea on the ground. And the cowpea will definitely absorb those chemicals for us to feed. Now, if that doesn't happen, that percolation goes to the water table. Goes down to the water table. So, the one that somebody disposed of in Ogbese, the water table, because the water moves like river underneath the ground, brings it all the way down to Akure. We sink a well here, and I'm fetching water. So, the question is this. 20, 30, 40 years ago, is it the way that we talk about cancer cases in hospitals that we are talking about it now in hospitals? And it's a serious challenge. Added to it is the fact that the easiest way to do weeding is to apply herbicides. But again, the herbicides is chemical also. So it's an issue that we are tackling with. How do we get a solution to it? This weed, they grow very, very fast. What do you do? I'm fighting some too. Sincerely, I don't know, and I don't want to use herbicides. But the farmer must also sell and make product and make a profit. So how will he make profit without using herbicides? So it's a challenge. But the chemicals are already affecting us. Many of the reasons why we are going to hospitals is because of the things we are eating. That is the truth. Now, cancer in some hospitals is like you are going there for malaria. This person died of a cancer of this, that cancer of that, cancer of that. Is water containing arsenic. I mean, all that kind of thing. And the reasons we don't follow standard. Nobody is really checking some of these things. But even if they are going to check the standard, how many of these things will make it to the market? How do they preserve cowpea, the ewa? When you see what some of these people do. So, but by and large, maybe with technology, but technology is also expensive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It's a serious situation, but like we have been told, transformation is coming already. Let me respond to the third question that Baba Efute asked. Yes, by the grace of God, as our students are going through their training, we're already building team spirit. And that's one of the reasons for their GMEP, Jesus in May project. They build team spirit, and once they enter into FATIAF, that's FATI Alumni Fellowship, it's a template to take off. Now we have some of them already in some different parts of the country who are teaming together, who have formed cooperative and have taken off. Then there are a few of them who are around here, because while they were here, some of them, all of them learned building, they learned construction. In fact, some of the buildings we are building now, when anytime, like if you see our drying tents, the person we invited to resource these graduates is one of our graduates who is now you could also call him a professional carpenter. He's the one who guides And then even the roofing of our conference center and our kitchen village hostels is one of our graduates who is a lead resource person doing that. Also in mercenary, one of them is the one who leads when it comes to that. So, and both of them had formed a team. So now they can even they take buildings, and from beginning to finish, they are the one who do it. So that is already going on. And also, they also have a joint farm, part of fatty outflow, that they are doing the farm also together. But on a large scale, we are growing gradually into that. The Lord is helping us. Also, for our brother who was asking for the way out on being delivered from herbicides, Fatty has been working on organic ways to deal with weeds. For some time, we avoided planting cocoa because we don't want to use the existing herbicides and pesticides they use in dealing with cocoa. By the grace of God, we are also put our cocoa plantation. Our cocoa plantation has taken off, and we are not using pesticides. I won't be able to reveal what we are using, but what we are using is eco-friendly and organic, completely organic. And also our research in okra, in tomato, what we use, like others use different herbicides and pesticides to plant tomato, to plant okra. We don't. Here we are zero herbicide compliant. We don't use herbicides at all because we know whether small or big herbicide is carcinogenic. They cause cancer. So what we use, the shelf life, if you take amaranthus from here, you put amaranthus F4. If you buy F4 from Fatty Garden, it can for the next how many days? 2-3 days. Your F4 is still looking as if you just plucked it from the garden. And we have checked our tomato shelf life without putting it in the freezer. 1 week, your tomato is still standing. So by the grace of God, is part of what our leader has said. We are starting from the corner and we are going. Sometimes some of these, our graduates call us and say, look, I planted tomato. Never told is disturbing it. And it's looking like we cannot handle it. I said, okay, can you use this, use that? It will handle it. And it's been working. It's been working. So there is a solution. God has given that solution to the new creation man. And as we keep growing, and as the Lord keeps expanding the space, we'll get there. Thank you very much.